Hi everyone, it's Peggy. Welcome to this week's video. This week I'm going to be making a vase from one piece of lumber and some veneer. And what I'm doing here is using some quart and smaller buckets to draw circles that I will then cut out on the bandsaw. Just using this one piece of maple here. Going to smaller and smaller buckets. Getting the circles cut out on the bandsaw. There were 3 different sizes of the circles that will be glued up in 3 different sections. And marking center on the largest piece. And using Titebond III to start the glue up on the 3 largest pieces, which will end up being the top section. Using a paintbrush here in a second to spread out the glue, and then placing veneer on top, and then more Titebond. And placing the 3 largest pieces now on the lathe and using the tailstock to have some added pressure. I will be using some clamps here, many clamps, but trying to utilize as many tools as I have to get as much pressure to hold everything together nicely. Cutting off the excess veneer, which I will save. And clamping up the second section. I think I used all my clamps because I had glued up sections, more than one section at a time, off of the lathe and then on the lathe. Gluing up some more maple and veneer. I don't know if anyone has tried these spring clamps, but they're pretty strong. They worked well. Did add some clamps here, but the spring clamps, at least on 2 pieces together, worked really nicely. Alright, let's get to turning. Turning this first piece here using a bowl gouge and have the lathe at about 550. Once I get it a bit more round, I can speed it up. And a bit of a different angle here. Same piece on the lathe, and now that it's round, making it the exact size and shape that I need so I can glue up the second piece. Close-up shot. And you can see the orange and the purple in there. And having glued up the second piece, this has dried and I'm taking the clamps off. This is the third piece. You can see some yellow veneer in there. And this is glued up on the one that is round now and making the second section round. I could have turned them without gluing them up, turning them separately. I just did it like this because I wanted the piece to stay on the lathe, and so I would have less trouble finding center or getting it stable, which can be a problem if you take a piece on and off the lathe. Even though this, what I thought was a simple project, this did take a while, all of the gluing and the veneer, and I did have some issues with it staying centered on the lathe given every new piece, but it took my time and, really was the better part of a week in doing this project. Not 8 hours a day or anything, but definitely longer than my usual projects. So here I am gluing a piece of Purple Heart to the smallest piece, which will end up being the bottom. Unfortunately, the Purple Heart did not survive. I had to turn most of it off, really all of it off, I should say, when I was having trouble getting a foot on it. It just didn't make it. So, and it still came out okay. Things don't always go to plan. You just gotta roll with it and do the best you can. So finalizing the overall shape of the vase here. And some final cuts, final passes with the bolt gouge newly sharpened, at least for the outside shape. Nothing like a sharp tool. So I now have it reversed on the chuck. The chuck is in expansion mode, and using the bolt gouge to finalize the shape of the outside. And again, as I said, I think you can barely see some Purple Heart on there. Now using the Forstner bit to start the hollowing process, I made 3 passes with the Forstner bit, which helped quite a bit. And I measure the depth with the diamond parting tool and decide to take another pass. 3 passes were made all together. And look at the shavings from using the Forstner bit. Pretty cool. Some of them had some of the veneer coloring in them. Alright, now time for hollowing. Using the bolt gouge, and I'm at about 900 RPMs here. Now because the tailstock isn't up, I do go pretty slow here. Slow in terms of not taking too deep of passes. Well, if you've made it this far in the video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. It's free. Please leave a thumbs up. That helps the channel grow. I would very, very much appreciate it. And with most of the inside hollowed, finalizing the shape of the lip or the rim, and making sure things are even inside. Now for some sanding. Did lots and lots of sanding. I started at 80 grit, ended up at 400 grit. Putting a coat of sanding sealer on, and I'll let that dry before I use the Axe abrasive paste and then polishing paste. There's a link in the description to the Axe products if you're interested. Use code PF10 and you'll get 10% off. Scotch-Brite pad before I start the Axe abrasive paste. So rubbing in the Axe abrasive paste to the outside, and then I will be buffing it off in a moment. Buffing it off until none of it shows up on the paper towel anymore. Now the Axe polishing paste, rubbing it in and buffing it off. This is where you can really start to see it shine. Well, you can see it shine after the abrasive paste, but this just adds to that effect. See how nice and smooth and shiny that looks? Trying to give you a close-up here. And here it is, fresh off the lathe. Gonna have some pictures up here in a second at the end. Thank you very, 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 very much for watching. If you haven't clicked that thumbs up button, please take a moment to do that. It really helps my channel. And if you're so inclined, please share this video on your social media. And until next week, peace out.